went ahead earlier and we're going to sort of go over a weekly accomplishment sheet. Now, my iPhone is not giving me the best vantage. So I have to look at my screen, which is on the other side. So if there's anything, you might have to wave a bunch and then I'll recognize you have a question, because some reason my iPhone isn't letting me see you. So here's what I did with Dee today. If you're familiar with the weekly accomplishment sheet, I'm hoping that you can sort of see this. If you can't read this, and I know it's backwards, just listen and write it down. But the weekly accomplishment sheet, when you go to fill it in on the computer, asks you who the hostess is. I don't have any water nearby. Asks who the hostess is. So Dee and I were talking about that. She had 3 women. One of them was hoping to be a hostess, but no one came from her group. And then the other ladies were just individual. So in that situation, Dee was technically the hostess. And that's something I did a lot of times. I just set the party and I would invite 4 or 5 individual people, and that's okay. But when I'm finding when people are completing their weekly accomplishment sheets, unfortunately, when you do not list each person, those weekly accomplishment sheets can be like gold, especially when you start to get into car qualification or director in qualification. And let me explain why. If all you're putting down is a hostess, and let me just use Joanna as the hostess. If I say Joanna is the hostess through the computer, then all it says is Joanna, 2 hours, maybe 3 orders, 1 or 2 bookings. It'll say a total, which might be $400, and a sales tax. This is the hostess giveaway, and it might say the total for the giveaway for discounts as well as the hostess gift. And then NRST is non-recovered sales tax. That is if you give a hostess a gift or give anybody, you have a listen for a lip gloss, you paid tax on that. But it's not like you're going to say, here's a gift. That was like $1.39 for tax. Do you mind? It just would be horrible. So you're going to write off the tax that you paid up front, and you don't want to miss that because that's inventory and money management that's important. So that is what that means. If it was in this party, it would be all in one line. But here's where the computer, I am seeing, misses the boat. It just says Joanna. It doesn't say the 4 or 5 people that were sitting there at Joanna's party. And that is why I am going to teach you something that I found when I was going through my business and we had to do everything by hand. It was very helpful because you might have people at your party. Imagine there's 5 and Joanna was the hostess. Sarah may have loved everything, but she didn't really purchase that night, and she was going to set up a second appointment to be a hostess, but maybe she fell off my radar. Maybe, quite honestly, I forgot all about her. Looking back in my weekly accomplishment sheets, which you should keep in your files, I wouldn't even see her name. I might see her in my profile box, but I might say, well, who is this girl, Sarah? I don't know who she is. Where was she? Who did she come with? So yes, it might say that on the customer profile card, but not everybody fills out the card exactly the way it's supposed to. So I found that this is the method that helped me. The reason I want to teach you this is twofold. When I was going through the last, remember the story we said earlier, finding a way and making a way, there's 6 hours left in the day. Don't just say, oh, I'll do it in March. I'm going to run through this finish line. I'm going to sell enough. I'm going to create the money. I'm going to place my order. Remember that mentality? Well, that is what's going to take you into Red Jacket. That's what's going to take you into completing a Power Start Plus or being on target for your car. And that means that you're going to need to get some names in your head. Because many a times we sit there and we go, but I don't have anybody to call. Who would I call? Well, that's where you've got to go through your list. When I have my weekly accomplishment sheets, and years ago I would file them after handwriting, I would see Joanna was the hostess, and I would see that I had a $400 party. But what I also used to do, oh my gosh, I just totally did not capitalize here. I would have Joanna, but then underneath I would write the 5 people that were there, okay? So I used to do it this way manually, and I would say, Sarah, she bought 0, but Jillian bought $249. Okay, I would write it down here so I knew, how did that 400 come to be? The weekly accomplishment sheet online doesn't quite let you do that. So this is what I found the best way to do it on our new system. So I know this is sort of hard to read, but I think if I talk it through, you will understand. I told Dee to put her name, since she was the hostess. I told her to slash, or you know, whatever that hash, or no, it would be a slash, and then to put Tanya. And then Tanya bought 104. So we put it right there. Now, because she's doing the first person, we're going to put the entire 2 hours, 3 orders, 2 bookings, and I don't think she had any skincare sets, maybe, I don't know. And then she's going to put the total, which was 190. Okay, so over here, we know that Tanya bought 104, and then she's going to put in a second person. So it says, who's the next hostess? Well, it wasn't really a hostess. Dee is going to say Dee slash, and then she put in Linda. Linda bought 40, but we're going to leave this blank. Oh, and by the way, this was $14.73. We gave a discount of $18, and she didn't give anything away for non-recovered sales tax. So now we have the second person. So then I told Dee, you do 1 more entry. And now we're going to put Keska. Keska was 46. Again, we're not going to put hours or orders or any of that because it was a grand total party. This is helpful because remember we talked about security? This is where you have proof for security, because when you have been tracking for 6 months, and you can look back 6 months, 8 months, a year, and you can say, wait a second, how many faces did I actually see in the last 6 months? Well, now you can track the faces, but then you can say, okay, so if it's just faces, let's say that she tracked 100 faces and she sold $1,000. Well, then she'd be able to say, oh, my face average is $10. That's not very good. Okay. Now I'm sure it would be much better. I don't know why I thought of that number, but anyway, if she was looking at parties, she might say, wow, I really only had 5 parties, but my parties averaged $312. See, now you have a bullseye. Now you know that all you have to do is have the parties, and you're going to average that $312. You might have a $1,200 party, and you might have a $75 party, but you're going to hit your average of $312. Now that's security. Then you can control getting that party, getting a hostess to partner with you and find out what she really wants and to help her get it for free or for that discount. Okay, so I'm going to go from here into now the next step, but I have to see anybody wave your hand because I have to look all the way to my computer. Any questions on what we're doing right now? Okay, good. I don't have on my glasses, so I have to, squint. So now, what do you do with this weekly accomplishment sheet? Well, the weekly accomplishment sheet is going to tally up your income for the week, but beware, it's not completely accurate. Okay, so here's what I was, showing Dee. You're going to take the computer's going to take your sales, and let's just take this for the sake of our example. if you want to follow through or follow along, you can write down that she sold 190 for that party. And let's just say that was her whole sheet. And then the computer is going to say 40% is your profit. Again, we do earn half of our sales, but we have some overhead we have to be prepared for. The overhead that Mary Kay teaches is 10%. 5% is for sales aids. That's called Section 2. The other 5% is preferred customer program. Yeah, you should actually know how many customers you can enroll based on your sales, unless you're going to throw in your own money. There was a method to Mary Kay's madness, right? So this would be $76. A lot of people would easily write themselves a paycheck right then and there, go shopping, take a trip, whatever. But this is where you might find your money management going wrong. And I have to move to the next screen. So, okay, so I think, well, see if I can get a little closer there. Okay, I know it's not ideal. I'm sorry I'm so close in your face, but I don't have a lot of space here. So let me go to your bills. You need to know what you have to pay. I just put down here Mary Kay Visa card, but you really have to look at what are you responsible for? Because I think that every time I do my bills and I'm like, oh, okay, I just wrote my Mary Kay checks and I don't have much left, it excites me to get back on the books. So if, you know, you've got to be realistic with where you got to go. But I love selling Mary Kay because I think it's fun and I can see the money and I can see my bills disappearing. But we're always going to have bills. It doesn't matter who you are. So let's just say you have $1,000 on your Mary Kay credit card or a credit card, but it's your business credit card. You can make a list of others. When you want to focus on debt reduction, you really want to put it all down. You want to look at the one that has the highest interest payment. Thank the Lord, our Mary Kay has this 12 months, no interest. But here's the catcher, you guys. These are outside companies. It's not Mary Kay. But the moment you pass 12 months, kabam! If you have any balance, they're going to get you. So I really want you to be strong and free, financially free. And this is how the weekly accomplishment sheet could trick you up a little bit, okay? So I got to turn this way. This is a really crazy register. Now, what I'm going to tell you is old school Mary Kay, this was what I would teach. And I still have a copy of it. They don't even have it anymore. But if you understand accounting, if you understand bookkeeping, it is the most brilliant thing. And I want you to know I didn't. I was so petrified because I was single. I was going to quit my job. I was about to leave my job as an Army officer because I was in DIQ. And then I became a sales director 1 month before my paycheck ended with the military. And I was bringing home good money, more money in my Mary Kay than I was in the Army. But there was that little bit of fear. There was a lot of fear, but there was that fear of, oh my gosh, like that security is going away. And I had to really look at how could I be strong in my fiscal responsibility and move forward. And I'm sorry, I think I'm over time, but stay with me a couple more minutes. So this is called the Business Tracking Register. You could create your own in Excel. I can send you what I have, but honestly, Mary Kay doesn't even have it anymore at the website. I loved this document because I needed to know where my money was going because it gave me confidence to tell my husband or my boyfriend at the time, I'm fiscally good. You know, I'm taking care of my bills and I'm not embezzling. So let me go back to that profit. That weekly accomplishment sheet said that I had $76. Sorry, I'm D now. That D has $76 in profit, but it's not true. So here's what this is. This is a tracking register where the very top is 0. And that would be basically a zero balance, okay? So if you're starting it now and you have $1,000 on your credit card, you could always have, when you see the sheet, you could always have that at the top, and then your, no, that's not true. No, that's not true. Just ignore that part. So basically at the very top of this would be zero, okay? So you have zero in your Mary Kay money bag. That's basically what it would mean. So here's how it goes. You have a class. Your class sold 190. Your sales tax that you collected was $14.73. If you do 50% of 190, you're going to get $95. If you do 5% of 190 for sales aids, that's section 2, it says I have $9.50. So that means all I can buy right now in section 2 is $9.50. PCP, 5%, $9.50. Over here is my income, $76. But wait a second. I gave a discount. Where does that money come from? Your discount that you gave comes from your profit. So in this situation, I would then bring down my numbers. I would have a new entry of discount, and I would put over here that I gave away 50% off a product. In this case, it was satin hands. So I gave away $18. So it has to come from something, you guys. It has to come from your profit. So you'll see here that now my true profit is $58. So if I wanted to really be fiscally smart and I had $1,000 on my Mary Kay credit card, I'm not going to just sit and let that money sit there, because I might be tempted. If you have had some bad purchase habits, then my recommendation is immediately take this $58 and send it to your Mary Kay credit card. Keep doing that with the profit if you're choosing to take all your profit to pay that off. If you're choosing to take a portion of the profit, then you can do so. So stay with me one more minute, because now we have a new balance. Our income here is truly, our profit is $58. But in our bank account, $950 is for PCP, for sales aids. $95 is what we have for another order, because half always is reinvested. So let's say we have another appointment. We're creating cash, girls. Now we have $100 in sales. Tax for me would be $7.75. That's half would be $50. I'm going to add it to the $95 that was in my bank account, because I'm not ever taking money out of my bank account unless I'm going to the bank. So now I can add those together. Now I have a total of $145 for my next Mary Kay order. Of course, you're going to do the same 5% based on that 100. That's $5 for sales aids, $5 for PCP, and your profit would be $40. So let's add that all back up. Now your grand total in sales has been $290. You've collected $22.48 because you have collected the sales tax. You paid it up front. You have $145 for your next order. You have a total of $14.50 for sales aids. You have a $14.50 for PCP, and your total income right now is $98 profit. Well, let's say you have to place an order. Like, you're so excited the new products are here and you need a couple things. How do you fiscally stay responsible with what you've sold? And how can you bust your butt to sell more because maybe your numbers are not looking good? This would be your next example. So now you're going to place a Mary Kay order. Now, a Mary Kay order is 4 parts. You've got cost of goods, which is wholesale. You've got your section 2, which are sales aids. You've got your sales tax, and then you have your shipping. So there's 4 parts of the order. Guess what? When we talk about selling enough for your $225, you got to pay attention to the other things, okay? So being fiscally responsible, this is where this sheet was great. There might be something better out there now, thanks to Dave Ramsey, but the business tracking register saved my tail. And that's also how I could say my IRA grew and I was able to invest and I was able to have so many more things because I was very aware of where my money was going. So here we are. You place a Mary Kay order. You only have $145 in your 50%. So you're going to wipe it out. Okay. So you're going to put a minus 145. I said 154, 145. The sales tax on 145 equals 22.49. So remember, sales tax is not 145 because that's the wholesale. You're paying tax on the retail. So you have to be aware of what comes up on the computer or just understand your numbers. So 145 wholesale would equal almost 300. It's 290. So then you're going to tax the retail. And that's where I got to 22.47. Well, thank goodness I've already collected 22.48. So I actually have a penny left over. So I don't buy any Section 2. I'm not going to use any of the money for PCP, but guess what? I got to pay for shipping. Where is that going to come from? It's going to come from my profit. So you've got to pay attention to where these little amounts are going. So now that leaves me $87.05. So if I know I've got to pay that bill in the next couple days, I'm not going to play around and buy extra Section 2 or extra things. I am going to do what Jules did. I am going to set my goal. I'm going to give my timer, and I'm going to say I'm not eating dinner with a family until I have sold $300. And that, my friends, is how you really start to hustle. So Okay, Amazing Graces. I want to follow up with this video. The other night we started talking about how do you properly complete a weekly accomplishment sheet. We also talked about the business tracking register. So over to my other side here, you guys remember, and go back a little bit in the video, that we said you have to start taking out some items from your profit if you did not have, like for example, the shipping, and you're watching how your money is categorized so that you know where your spending habits are, and of course what you can spend when it is time to do a Mary Kay order. So here I am to bring it all back together with some happiness, because that could be a little depressing, and I know we ended the call and the training and I had gone over. So I want to finish it up today by saying the best part about those payments. Let me just bring you back over here. We talked about the business tracking register, and you can see right here over my shoulder, we talked about taking the, or how are you going to pay, or where's that money going to come from when you have the shipping on a Mary Kay wholesale order. Okay, so you had to order and you had the sales tax in your category, so you were covered there. But wait a second, you can't write your paycheck or write a check and go shopping for $98. You got to pay attention to where some of the other expenses have to be pulled from. So now you have your 87. So let's talk about that 1095. Before you get depressed and say, what? I'm not making any money. How can I make any money? This is where we pull it all together with a beautiful red bow. Schedule C. If you have not, it's tax season right now, so if you've not pulled out a Schedule C, this is what it looks like. This is what you are now able to use as an in-home business owner. So many blessings come by being diligent and doing this detailed work. It doesn't take a lot, but gang, it will give you so much money for your family. When people say, oh, I don't make any money in Mary Kay, well, they're not taking advantage of what this is. Mary Kay is an in-home business. And according to this, let me pull her out, this accountant, okay, her name is Courtney Epps. You can Google her. She has an amazing Facebook group. She has a monthly service where you can ask her all sorts of stuff, but this book was great. You can hire her to incorporate you. You can hire her to do your bookkeeping, and you can find out if you should be creating an LLC, if you have that kind of income or not. So here's what she says. As long as you are showing intent to build a business, you are able to take advantage of all of the deductions
in a Schedule C. Now, what is intent? Well, intent means you are attending educational events. That could be your weekly meeting. If you are signing in and paying a $5 fee, save your check. I don't recommend Venmo for all these things, you guys, because you don't have paper trail. So that's important for the government. And Venmo is a precarious a new monster because it's not FDIC approved. So you can ask me more about that later, but you've got to just be careful. You do want paper trail for all of your tax purposes. Any of the events that we have, whether it's fall retreat, whether it's career conference, maybe it's a January jumpstart, maybe it's just a workshop on a Saturday. We just had Bill Cantrell talk, and he came and he did this whole thing on personalities, and that was awesome. But these workshops are showing intent to build your business. Now, oh my gosh, the secret? Oh, what the secret? Okay, listen, give me your ear. The secret is all of these workshops are personal growth. And all of the workshops that I attended made me a better Army officer, made me a better registered dietitian, made me a better counselor, made me a better manager. I got promoted in my other job because I took advantage of the personal growth and education through our Mary Kay system. Oh my gosh, our Mary Kay umbrella is amazing, and it's huge, and it has so much, whether it's personalities, how to work with other people. Are you married? Do you have kids? You got to learn how to work with other people. And this is where Mary Kay comes in. So let's go back to that $10.95 that we just had to pay for shipping. And wait a second, I didn't have, if we always look at 50% of what we sell goes back into reinvesting. Okay, I ordered $145, but Mary Kay told me my total was going to be like $203. Where's that extra money coming from? You got to pay attention. So that's the business tracking register. Go back and watch that video again. Call myself or call me or call Joanna if you have some extra questions. But now the joy of it all, that $10.95 is going to come back to you. It's going to come back to you in the form of end of year taxes because you're going to write it off. So I want to show you something. Hold on. I teach my girls to get 12 of these. In fact, just as what Joanna said. This is just a version of the Schedule C that was created in the Mary Kay world. But you want to get 12 of these copies and 12 of these, one for each month, and staple it together. And then throughout the month, put every single receipt in that envelope. And so at the end of the month, you pour it out, watch a movie with your family, and put all the numbers together, itemize it in the categories. So $10.95 is going to be part of postage and print. The great news is, now I actually see how I have written a whole bunch of stuff here. This is what is on the Schedule C. If you notice, postage and print isn't technically on here, but it's a huge business expense, and it is authorized. You just have to call it other, and that's where you would list postage and print. So when you go to do your deductions, you get to say, woohoo! Even though I paid the $10.95 in August for my order, I get to deduct it. Every order, I get to deduct it. If I'm shipping my clients anything, I'm going to deduct it. If I am buying supplies from Amazon and I got to pay shipping, I'm going to deduct it. I'm going to deduct as much as I can because it is legal. It is totally legal. And that is when you show intent to build a Mary Kay business. And I'm going to tell you right now, you should ask your accountant, what would we be getting back if I did not have an in-home business? And what am I getting back with an in-home business? And make sure that that number is what you and your husband are both aware of, because with our Mary Kay business, we are able to have so much come back to us. So just to conclude, these are pretty self-explanatory. Advertising, preferred customer program, that's advertising. So even when you buy a couple extra books, and Mary Kay does send it for you if you sign up for PCP, that's an advertising expense. Are you going out and handing out roses or handing out chocolates because you want to get some new names? Or are you doing a vendor event someplace? Maybe it's at the church or the craft fair or the gym. Those are advertising expenses. Car track expense. Make sure you track your mileage and have a mileage log in your car. Commission and fees. We don't really deal with that. Contract labor, that would be if you have somebody that you are hiring to work for you, maybe your office assistant, but most of you won't have that until you're a sales director. Something on my face. Depreciation. Now this is important. If you're buying computers, you're buying large office equipment. I have a huge desk and cabinetry that was very expensive. So my accountant said, no, we have to depreciate that over a couple of years. So you can read up on that one. Any questions you have, you can also go to irs.gov. There's a lot of free information you just need to read about. But of course, Courtney Epps is a great resource. Insurance, interest. So I do recommend getting yourself under MK Connections at our Mary Kay website. I think it's under ordering. The insurance is so important. If anybody breaks into your car, gosh, Fatu's husband had her car. She had her product in the back and somebody broke into the car. It's not covered with insurance. It's not covered with rental insurance, and it's not covered with homeowners insurance. If you have a flood or your house burns down, those are things that could wipe out your business if you're not insured. And so Mary Kay has partnered with the Direct Selling Association, and we have a wonderful company that has all sorts of things. They also have benefits for dental and healthcare. So those are worth checking out. Interest, mortgage. Okay, so you have a business in your home. Did you know you can write off a portion of your mortgage, or if you rent? Yeah, that's awesome. My space here in my studio office, I tried to get it as big as I can. This whole area is only Mary Kay. I can deduct this whole area every single month from my utilities. What are my utilities? My landscaper, because it has to look pretty. It's an office. Cleaners, housekeepers. When we paint the exterior of the home, when I had to get a new roof, when we're getting new carpet, that's 25 grand. So these are things that, thank Jesus, I have my Mary Kay, because I am allowed to write off the portion of my office space, okay? If you're using another area like your kitchen table, you can't do that area. So find something that you can designate portion of your home that's only Mary Kay, and you will be better off. In fact, Terry Skill was so wise. She took her dining room area that nobody ever used, and it had all the china. She just took all the china out, put it in the closet, and put her Mary Kay in the china hutch, and now that whole area is her Mary Kay. So she's legally allowed to write that off. Legal and professional services. If you happen to buy TurboTax or you hire somebody, that's part of that. Okay. We have office expenses, rent or lease, repairs, maintenance, supplies, taxes, travel and meals, utilities, other expenses. For travel, I'm going to tell you this. I do per diem. So you want to save your receipts for all of the meals that you do and your hotel. But instead of writing off, if you shared a room with your team member, the government allows you, if you go on, just Google, per diem rate, July, Dallas, and it'll tell you what it allows the government, and because IRS falls in that and we're an entrepreneur, we can say per diem, if it is, for example, I just did this, it was $66 a day for food, and the per diem was, I want to say $147 for hotel. So then all you have to do, even though you might save your Omni receipt or your Hyatt receipt or wherever you're staying, for that sake of travel, you just say 4 or 5 nights and multiply it by the per diem rate. And that is how I do my travel per diem for food. And then last but not least, meals. You are not allowed to deduct 100% of meals. You do have to pay attention to that. And just because you're eating doesn't necessarily mean that you can write it off. So you got to read up on some of those new rules. If it is a business meeting, it's not that easy anymore. 2018 changed some things. They did say that if you could be doing a meeting away from food, then why are you incorporating dinner? Like that was their mindset. However, Courtney Epps, she does say that if you are eating dinner, you have to notice on the receipt, what business associate were you with? What did you talk about? How long did you talk? So I think if you can detail all of that, then you're fine. You can take a friend out, and here's the part, you guys. Stop being so worried about who's going to say yes, because you're going to get all these benefits and you're going to write it off, even if everybody says no. Who cares? As long as you keep trying and you keep offering, you're going to get the write-off for that meal. If you're holding an appointment, an interview, or even bringing your on the go and having a meal, you can legitimately have all of that covered. Okay, I think I gave you an overview. I will go in depth for more, especially if you have personal questions, but I wanted to wrap this all up and give you a really good Money Matters video. Hope it was great, and I look forward to talking to you later.